So anyway, so what Dapper was saying to me, folks, is that I guess he's on holiday this week, so he's not going to be here. That doesn't surprise me. He been talking about wanting to take a break from the show, and I took a break last week, and so it's okay if he doesn't show up today. No harm, no foul. You know how it goes. Yeah, I don't think Tony is going to be here either. I don't like Tony anyways. What do I care if Tony's here or not? Well, with that, how do we say it? Good morning, afternoon, evening to you. As the substitute producer snuck up on us, eh? Hey, Dave. How's it going, Dave? I'm doing pretty good. I'm glad to see you two here, ready to knock out what is it, week 12? Week 12 in the NFL football season, or is it week 14? Who knows? Yeah, we're going to just talk about some things since Dapper is not here, and go from there. How about it? Sounds good to me. Missed being here last week. Missed the camaraderie with the guys, and so yeah, let's go ahead and dig into it. What do we want to talk about today? We're sitting here trying to figure out what week we are in the NFL football schedule, because we don't go by week 15, 16, and 17, because we don't cover the bye week. So it's about the schedule, not about the bye. We start off with week 17, which is really 16. How do we say it? Carolina at Tampa Bay, which is really week 16. And the week before that, we mark it by the Redskins' big win over Philadelphia. That was week 15. Right, you are. And so week 14 would have been the Redskins win over, who was it? Buffalo, right. That's right, Buffalo. So that's what we should start off with then, Ford. Hey, 14. Yeah, 14, that's what we'll call this week, is week 14. And we could call it week 12, you know. Does it really matter? I don't guess it does, you know. So anyhow, the Patriots pulled one out. I don't recall even who they played, but they won. And so they're what? 12-2. 12-2, right. 12-2 they are. And Denver won, I believe. Carolina won again, although I think that these well-intended antics of Mr. Cam Newton, the quarterback for the Panthers, has gotten under the feathers of some of the defenders on the other team, and so we have this situation with the Giants really getting a good beatdown from them, and as a result of it, one of the receivers, Odell Beckham Jr., Beckham Jr., got bent out of shape over it, and nobody thinks that Cam Newton intends to be disrespectful, if you would, but I think that's the way the defenders on these different teams are taking it, Ford. Yeah, I think that's probably what it is, and I wouldn't be surprised at all to see Cam Newton tone it down a bit when they play Atlanta this coming week. They pretty much, I think that they are stirring up the other defenders on the other team, and I mean, come on, just go ahead and put up
or shut up and just stop, acting that way? Do you want to win the game, or do you want to win a Super Bowl? It just seems to me like Cam Newton is celebrating something on just about every play, and it gets old after a while. He's probably a pretty arrogant guy, so I think he should just go ahead and keep his lips shut for the time being and just play the game and get over himself. So, with Denver with the win, you had Cincinnati coming, and AJ McCarron's first to second win as a starting quarterback helped the Bengals get into a better playoff seed. They are not likely to be division champions unless they win again, but definitely in the playoffs. And McCarron had a nice game, but his play is not steady, and I think that he maybe lacks some arm strength. What say you, Fold? Well, he played for Alabama, and Alabama's a good school, but they haven't been known to churn out much quarterback talent in the NFL. There are players on every team in the NFL who play for Alabama, but Alabama does not turn out pro quarterbacks. So who knows? Like, win is good for them. That was good for him, but it remains to be seen if they do get into the playoffs, if they go anywhere, because A.J. McCarron not only lacks the arm strength, but he also is inexperienced. Very unfortunate for Dalton to go down with the hand injury on the last play of the game like that, but those sorts of things happen. And so, we go on to the next story, is the injuries on various teams around the league. Pittsburgh is having a resurgence. They appear to be in the driver's seat in their division, with no one even remotely close to them to taking away their crown. Although the Big Ben threw that very characteristic interception there late in the fourth quarter, but they appear to be on their way. I think that they're one of the few teams in the league that matches up pretty well against the Patriots. What say you, Fold? I agree. But I don't think the Patriots are just vulnerable to Pittsburgh. I think the Patriots can lose to anybody with all the injuries that they have. Yeah, I suppose this is true enough. And the Colts are a mess. The Colts are just a mess. Yeah, the Colts are a mess. Andrew Luck has had a year to forget, and it just goes to show that you don't know what is going to happen in any given season. And you got the Colts that are flaming out, and you got the Texans that are hot. You have the Chiefs that have won 6 or 7 in a row, and they appear to be on their way to a division title. The Redskins appear to be close to winning their division, although they have not defeated a team with a winning record all year. So it seems to me that there's a lot of turnover this year in the league. The AFC South is probably the worst division in the NFL, even worse than the NFC East, because Jacksonville is nowhere. Tennessee is horrible. All you really have in the AFC South is the Houston Texans, and everybody else in that division is pretty forgettable. The Colts. So it's a really bad division this year, but the Colts will be back. The Colts will be back for sure. And then you have Seattle, who's rung off 4 straight games with the conclusion of this week. And although they can't be anything but a wild card, Arizona has clinched the division by virtue of their 13-1 record. But it would seem to me that the the Seattle Seahawks defense is back, and I think that has Russell Wilson playing with a little bit more confidence there, Ford. Yeah, he's playing with more confidence. I think a lot of their success has got to do with the defense. Russell Wilson is not a typical NFL quarterback. He benefits greatly from the fact that the defense is playing well. When the defense isn't playing well, he stutters, he stammers. So you got Arizona, probably the most balanced team in the NFL. May even be better than Carolina, just by virtue of the fact that Cam Newton is a more athletic quarterback than Carson Palmer, but Carson Palmer's experience more than makes up for that. Athletic ability is good in a quarterback, but it isn't essential. So I would say the Arizona Cardinals are a more balanced, overall better team than Carolina right now. The NFC North. Well, it's coming down between the Green Bay Packers and the Minnesota Vikings. And right now, even with a couple of dramatic wins, I just don't think the Packers have the personnel to go into the preseason. I think New England, who's another injury-riddled team, does have, because they should get a lot of their injured starters back for the first game of the preseason, provided they will have the bye. So I'm not worried about New England, but I think Green Bay is done. And I think that if Green Bay is the wild card, they will more than likely go to Washington to play the wild card game, because Washington will clinch the division if they continue to win. And if they beat Philadelphia next week, they will win the division. So I think it's just not a good year for Green Bay. Minnesota will win the division. And let's see, we talked about the NFC South yet. The NFC South is the Panthers and everybody else. So, they said they just almost lost to the New York Giants, and I think a lot of it has to do with Cam Newton being acting like a small child on the football field. Whether he means anything by it or not, I think he's starting to tick off the players in the other team. And it came out that everybody was wanting to give Beckham all this criticism for his conduct on the field, but it came to surface that Josh Norman and one of the other cornerbacks, I don't know his name, but they were saying awful derogatory remarks to Beckham, taunting him and calling him out during the pre-game stretching and all that sort of thing. And I think that the coach, Ron Rivera, I think Cam Newton, I think Luke Kuechly, and I think Tom Coughlin and Eli Manning are all responsible for all that nonsense, because none of them made an effort to lead and take Beckham aside and calm him down. And I say the same thing for Newton. While Norman was out there getting into it with Beckham, he was carrying on over on the sideline like a stupid bum. Cam Newton needs to see the situation for what it is. And at the very same time, there's all these things going on in the field, he's over there showboating on the sideline like a fool. Cam Newton needs to grow up. That's what he needs to do. And then, where was Luke Kuechly? Where was Luke Kuechly? The leader of the defense. He was doing next to nothing to restrain Norman. Well, as is typical with the media, they seem to like focusing in on bad-mouthing one player and then making the other player out to be a saint. Josh Norman and the other defender for the Panthers and one of their linebackers were just as guilty of taunting Beckham as anything else. But that's the reason why we do this show, because the liberals, the Democrats, and the new sports media are all about propaganda and creating fictional stories out of this and that and taking one side over the other. That's why we have this show, to give you an alternative, something that actually requires you to use your brain. Because most sports media in this country is garbage. And they'll ask us, how come we spent so much time focusing in on the NFC this particular episode? I'd say, Ford, it's because the AFC is pretty much down to one thing. It's going to be the Patriots, the Steelers, and the Chiefs, and that's pretty much it. That's about right, John. The AFC is not as good as the NFC this year. I think a very high likelihood that the NFC will produce a Super Bowl champion this year. Who knows? But yeah, when I think about the AFC, I think about New England. I think about New England. I think about the Chiefs because of the role that they're on, and I think about Pittsburgh because those are the three strongest teams in the NFL. So the AFC North, the AFC East, and the AFC West have the division winners of those three divisions will have the highest likelihood of producing a Super Bowl champion. And again, the AFC South is not even worth talking about right now. And last but not least, for the NFC East, well, there's really nothing to talk about with the NFC East. Giants, Eagles, and the Cowboys are all terrible, and the Redskins are the only decent team in this division. They are on their way up. We see them getting better and better every week. How good are they in comparison to the rest of the league? Who knows? But they're the best of the worst teams in the NFL right now, and that's only because they need more time to continue to get better and improve. So I like Kirk Cousins. I think that they have a good receiving core there. I like Will Compton on defense as the inside linebacker leading that defense. I like the leadership on that team. I like the coach. The GM, Scott McCloughan, has come in and done a tremendous job bringing in character and talent for the first time in forever. And I say this with reservation that the Redskins are still not a very good team. But I do think that they are headed in the right direction. We see noticeable improvement every week from the Redskins. So, could they win a playoff game? Who knows? We will see. But if they do win a playoff game, if they do, say, beat Packers, Vikings, or Seahawks at home, the game will be at FedEx Field. I think that they could possibly win that game and learn from that and build for next year, because they will most certainly get knocked out in the NFC divisional playoff game. Well, so I think that pretty well wraps up this episode. And on that note, of course, the Redskins did defeat the Buffalo Bills at home to win the second straight after they had won their first road game of the year to Buffalo. And one thing that Ford, you said you was going to note this before, we'll be talking about the Redskins. They haven't beaten a team with a winning record. And when they have played good teams, they've gotten pretty well beaten down. So I don't see the Redskins going too far. Maybe they win the wild card game, but that's about it. Yeah, that's it, John. So without delaying any further, let's go ahead and wrap up this episode of Time to Quit Sports Radio. We appreciate you joining us, and please join us again next week. Bye-bye.